Hey folks, Wrong Gamgee here. I just want to briefly announce that the Quick and Dirty RPG system is now available on DriveThruRPG for $4.99. That's almost a 40% price reduction from its original retail price of $8, which makes it easier for you to get a copy of my labor of love to the RPG hobby in your preferred devices. Also, don't forget to grab a copy of the Quick and Dirty character sheets and other profiles at a price of pay what you want. The links to both products are in the description. Now, onto the video. Greetings folks, this is Wrong Gamgee, and welcome to Quick and Dirty Roleplaying. This video is a continuation of my discussion on how the EZD6 tabletop role-playing game is maximized for playability. If you haven't seen part 1, I suggest you check that out before watching this video. When it comes to tracking time in EZD6, things either happen in narrative time or action time. Action time is where greater structure is imposed in order to fairly resolve events involving every participant in the scene, whether the scene involves combat, a chase, a race against time, or some other involved contest where things are happening quickly and the participants are under duress. Each participant gets a turn to move somewhere nearby, which is anywhere within 30 feet or so, and can also perform one turn action and one free action. Turn actions are the main activity of what the character is doing in their turn, while free actions are ancillary activities that don't interfere with the turn action that the PC is performing, such as drawing or sheathing a weapon, taking a potion, talking to a non-ally, etc. Unless the PCs are surprised, they get to act before their opponents, and they can go in any order. All this keeps turns going quick. No need to randomly determine who goes first by having each participant make a dice roll, and then adding their dexterity modifier, to then arrange it in order from highest to lowest, one time. Probably the only thing that would make this go faster is if turn order were decided by having the player to the rabble-rouser's left or right to go first and then continuing on in the same direction. That, however, would severely restrict the party's ability to coordinate as freely as possible. I also wonder how it would be like to alternate between a player's turn and the opponent's turn, so that combat feels more chaotic and reactive to the moment at hand. If anyone has tried doing this with EZD6, let me know in the comments how that works out. Speaking of combat, numbers are kept small so as to keep them relevant and tense. The vast majority of PCs will have 3 strikes, i.e. hit points, just like in baseball. Upon losing your last strike, they're taken out, though other than in situations of certain death, such as massive cave-ins, large explosions, and falling more than 20 feet. Or rather, let me rearrange it. Rather than saying situations of certain death, more like situations of catastrophic damage. It's not specifically stated that losing your last strike means that the PC is dead. I think leaving this out actually serves the group so that the rabble-rouser can decide how lethal they want their game to be. Strikes are also relatively easy to recover at a rate of 1 strike per night of rest and nourishment. Just as hit points are kept low, so is damage. For conventional weapons, 1 hit equals 1 strike of damage, whereas for giant weapons and siege weapons, they deal 2 strikes per hit. Sources of catastrophic damage can outright kill a character unless they succeed on a miraculous save, which is a roll of 6. And even then, they're left with 1 strike only. Armor is incredibly important when it comes to extending the longevity of a character's life in combat. For every strike a hero receives, they can make an armor save dice roll that will allow them to avoid that strike. Heavy armor saves on a 4 or better, medium armor saves on a 5 or better, and light armor saves only on a 6. Having a shield lowers the armor save number needed by 1. So just to reiterate, this is not just one armor save roll per attack, but one armor save roll per strike taken. So an incredibly lucky hero can nullify the damage taken by a giant weapon attack or a particularly nasty critical hit. Armor, however, won't do a thing for you when it comes to events that deal catastrophic damage and other situations where armor just doesn't apply, like when attacked by a wraith or another form of damage that doesn't come from a hard kinetic impact. Again, keeping it simple here. A weapon is a weapon is a weapon, unless it's a giant weapon or a siege weapon. So be encouraged to use a weapon that seems cool for you. Also, I'm confident in concluding that damage and health numbers being small and the use of armor saves comes straight from games like Warhammer Fantasy Battles or Warhammer 40k, which help keep the pace quick when it comes to a player's turn. It's simple, but not so simple that it's hours of hit, miss, hit, roll for damage, 12 damage, 96 more hit points to go, that sort of thing. A character's hero path and inclinations determine whether or not they can cast spells or call upon their gods to perform miracles. Conjurers, which are the mages in this game, can choose their school of magic, called a circle of sorcery in EZD6, which determines the nature of their magic and how it can be used. Examples include arcane bands, blaster master, no, not the NES game, botanicalists, elementalists, etc. Friars, the miracle workers, and characters with the friars and characters with, I believe it's the devout inclination. I forgot to put that in my scripts. Don't have like a divine analog to circles of sorcery, but I would imagine that calling for miracles that are diametrically opposed to their deity's portfolio would either be met with lots of resistance or just automatically fail. EZD6 makes it very easy to fill in the patches with Rule 0. Spellcasters can pretty much cast any spell that they can think of as long as it fits within their spellcasting theme and if they can overcome their target's magic resistance. Most enemies or heroes resist spells with 1d6 roll, and the spellcaster succeeds if they roll if they roll equal to or higher than their target's spell resistance roll. By default, conjurers roll a single d6 for their spellcasting roll, but they can power up their magic by rolling up to 3d6 and choosing the best result. Powering up spells like this is risky, however, because if any spellcasting die comes up as a 1, the spell fails to manifest unless they take Spellburn, which deals 1 strike of damage to the caster. Karma cannot be spent to improve spellcasting rolls, but hero dice can be used to reroll any single spellcasting die, including the 1s. Spells can also be cast on multiple targets, but each additional target affected beyond the first increases the group's spell resistance roll by an extra d6. The spell resistance roll is made for the group, not per individual target. So the spell either affects the entire group or it affects no one. Last but not least, spells that stick around over a period of time have to be anchored. This is like maintaining a concentration spell in D&D, except that casting another spell breaks the anchor, causing the spell to end. The same goes for taking taking a strike of damage or whatnot. Some very powerful spells may even cost karma as well as anchoring to maintain the spell. As for miracles, these are meant to be incredibly powerful and versatile, so they always resist with 3 dice at a minimum because they're meant to be difficult to manifest. Furthermore, a miracle can only be attempted once per scene, and further asks always fail. Last but not least, miracles cannot be used to cause harm or injury to others. So do your own killing, you zealot. This magic system allows spellcasting PCs to be creative with their magic without overwhelming them with a large list of spells or a convoluted spell matrix. There's also risk and risk management when it comes to spellcasting, which keeps spellcasting engaging to the players. So this seems like a good stopping point for this video. I'll cover other aspects of EZD6 later on in future videos. I hope you found value in my coverage of EZD6 thus far. If you like or dislike anything in this video, please give it a like or dislike and leave a comment, keeping it respectful and relevant. Subscribe if you want to support my channel, and if you really want to support my endeavors, head over to my Patreon and become a member. The link is in the description. Until then, folks, take care and play to find out what happens.